Vancouver Island, Washington State, and White Rock. She's part of the Spiritual Enrichment and Activity Team for Unity Vancouver Island. Judy's worked with the mentally handicapped in France, Ontario, and BC, was a social worker in Prince Rupert, a quality assurance consultant for the Ministry of Health, and a safety advisor for the Vancouver Health Authority before she retired in 2008. And she's coming to us from Courtenay, BC. Welcome, Judy. I'm going to shut down my slides and give you the screen.
Thank you so much. Well, I do understand that you're having a bit of a chat afterwards. So if I run off, it's not because I don't want to stay here. It's because I'm actually going down to Nanaimo. They're having a service and a barbecue today. So how many of you believe that the following is true? If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you always got. So how many of us get stuck into that rut? And what rationale do we use for justify? Well, it's who I am. It's part of my personality. That's just the way I'm wired. So if you've ever wanted to change something, can you succeed by always doing what you've always done? You must make a choice to take a chance, or your life will never change. That's following the 3 C's of life. I'm just going to click this because this little sign says it's being recorded. There we go. So one of the booklets, Shine On, states, something in me knows that you are greater than anything you have yet experienced or expressed. The inner knowing, this feeling of potential greatness, is the Spirit of God in you trying to break through. It is like sunlight that may be temporarily hidden behind clouds, but the clouds cannot take away the light. Nothing can erase or lessen the bright, glorious, wonderful spirit that is in you. The booklet also had a story about a computer programmer who sat at his desk, more or less pretending to work. He did this day after day until one day he realized that the life he was living was a life he no longer wanted to live. He moved from Chicago to Los Angeles and began his new life as a singer-songwriter. His family had suffered during the Holocaust, and he wanted his music to heal hatred, fear, and division. Aren't we all glad that Daniel Nahmod chose to take a chance and change his life from a computer programmer to a singer-songwriter? How many of you think that your success or happiness depends on what happens outside of yourself? If only I had a better job. If only I had the money to travel. If only I had a husband who danced. Guess what? You all have the power to be successful and happy. Guidance counselors urge their students to enter into occupations that they're either good at, or they enjoy, or they can make a lot of money. Well, I was using a book called Be the Miracle by Regina Brett. And when she talks about a story, she talks about Be the Miracle, she talks about in North Carolina at the airport in Charlotte, there is a washroom cleaner who greets every customer with, "Welcome to Valerie's restroom. Don't worry, pee happy. There are plenty of seats for you. No line, no waiting," as she opens the stall doors. "It's very important that you get a seat in Valerie's happy restroom. This is where you go to pee happy." And to cheer you on, she chants, "Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go right now." Do you think Valerie enjoys going to work each day? Do you think she has happy customers? Well, never once did I even think about being a washroom attendant. I used to think washroom attendants had to be the lowest of the low jobs in life. In some places, especially foreign countries, there are washroom attendants who hand you squares of toilet paper or paper towels. Relegated to spending your days and working in a bathroom? Not me. But what gift or ability is Valerie using? Well, power or dominion. It's a power not to be exercised for the purpose of controlling others, but for the purpose of taking dominion, over our own thoughts and feelings in order to come into a greater God awareness. And that's from your God-given potential. So let's affirm together, I have the power to create my world. Imagination is the power for June, and it has the ability to create a movie theater in your mind. I can visualize Valerie in a setting of sparkly pink wallpaper, twinkling lights, a white chaise lounge, and dancing patrons directed by Busby Berkeley. Of course, that's not true. Imagination can also do the opposite, and your worst fears can create a horror movie in your mind. If you've ever heard a strange noise at night, your breathing becomes very shallow as you strain to listen for that serial killer. Your heart starts beating faster and you start to sweat. Well, fear is false, evident, appearing real. Now, is that real? No, but it can affect you as if it is. So let's affirm together, I claim imagination now. I claim imagination now. I visualize and imagine. I visualize and imagine how to be the best person and best Christ I can be. How to be the best person and best Christ I can be. So if you've taken metaphysics, you'll understand Fillmore's quote. It is through the imagination that the formless takes form. He also wrote in the Unity magazine in 1901, God is more willing to give than we are to receive, and has actually placed every desire right at our hand, waiting for us to get into the proper mental attitude to have them fulfilled. So hold that thought while I tell you my story. So in January 2012, at the White Stone service, I had written the word calling on my white stone. I didn't understand why, but that was the word that had come to me during the service. Later that year, I was asked if I was a licensed Unity teacher, and I replied, no. Why do you ask? The response, because you'd make a darn good one. I was the board treasurer at that time, and Reverend Sky St. John was giving a church finance course in Victoria. Sky mentioned the qualities needed to become a licensed Unity teacher: compassion, commitment, competence, calling. Well, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and those three signs started me on the path. Has anyone ever told themselves, yeah, but I'm too old. Yeah, but it costs too much money. Before I became a licensed Unity teacher, I had to face those same fears. I was 62 years old. I was retired. Well, in order to apply to the program, I had to complete 25 SCE courses. Then I would have to go to Unity Village in Kansas City and pay for a psychological evaluation and an interview, and that was all going to be in US dollars. Well, remember the first power we discussed? I have the power to change my world. I had to choose to take a chance. So how do I complete 25 courses? Well, the finance course counted as one. So I discovered that Unity Portland was offering a whole week of classes called C Intensives. I completed 3 in 1 week. Well, that's 4 down, 21 left to go. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed doing intensives around the US, and I discovered Oak Park in Chicago. Unity Village had lots of wonderful different seasons. And when it came time to choose a specific area for ministry, I looked at the options. We didn't have any children attending our church. We didn't have an office. So I crossed out youth and administration. Pastoral care required me to go to Vancouver. I didn't want to join Toastmasters as I was already teaching. I really enjoyed music, but the music ministry required the candidate to play an instrument. When I was at Unity Village, I asked Richard McDeasy if it was possible to create a music ministry for people who didn't play an instrument. He replied, hold that thought. I just submitted a proposal outlining that very same request to the board. Guess what? I graduated in 2015 as one of the first LUTs in music ministry who didn't play an instrument. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote, "Use me, God. Show me how to take who I am, who I want to be, what I can do, and use it for a purpose greater than myself." How many of you have a copy of this month's Daily Word? I'd like to read you an excerpt from the story, Finding Peace Through Service and Surrender. Years ago, I prayed God would send me wherever I was needed. I answered the call to meet the needs of my 73-year-old cousin who was facing a string of crises on top of a history of mental illness. It wasn't long before I felt burdened and out of balance. I needed relief and help, and it was nowhere to be found. I complained a lot. I felt angry with my cousin and resentful toward relatives who wouldn't step up to share the load. Through it all, I tried to exert my will and power, even though I was physically and emotionally exhausted. I needed help knowing what was mine to do and how to do it. I turned to a plaque in my workplace bearing the words from Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. The scripture reminded me of what I can accomplish when focused on the right things. I prayed for direction. I was so drained, all I could do was let go and let God. Once I accepted I was where I was called to be, I released my frustration, anger, and blame. I accepted what I believed was God's will, which allowed me to feel the divine presence in the midst of my struggles. After months of conflict and delay, everything came together when I made peace with my role. I even developed a better relationship with my cousin. I saw her as more than her condition, as a person with likes and dislikes, desires and dreams, and character and personality. After I stopped resisting my involvement in her care, I found myself more compassionate, understanding, and loving. I had more time and energy to share stories, laughter, and gifts with her. I became more intentional about holding a vision for her, just as I would want someone to hold a vision for me if I was dependent and needing care. I have always had an understanding and practice of listening for God and following divine guidance. My experience showed me I was missing a crucial piece: surrender. Now, my daily prayer contains a request for help, knowing what is mine to do and the will to do it. I listen for my guidance and follow it when it comes. I learned how surrendering means making peace with what is, so the goodness of God can flow abundantly with grace and ease. Well, Bob and Bill had been friends for years, and they both loved baseball. When Bill suddenly fell ill, Bob came to visit him at the hospital, and they reminisced about their long friendship. Bob said, "Listen, Bill, when you die, I want to know if there's baseball in heaven." Bill responded, "Of course I'll do this for you. We've been friends for a long time." And then he died. Well, a few weeks later, Bob heard his friend's voice. Bob, wake up." "Is that you, Bill?" asked the sleepy Bob. "Yeah, it's me. I've got some good news and some bad news," said Bill. "The good news is there's baseball in heaven. The sun is always shining, there's a perfect breeze, and even the ump is fair." "Well, what's the bad news?" said Bob. "You're pitching on Wednesday." I was asked for a recent photo by Cheryl Driscoll that is unique to spring, so I sent her a photo of me receiving the Bronze Medal Award from the North Island Rhododendron Society on May the 3rd. I was so surprised when they announced my name that I said, "Me? Why?" And as the president read the letter outlining all the ways I had contributed, he asked, "Do you remember all these things you've done for the club, Judi?" When I went to a meeting in 2011, I went strictly to find out information on rhododendrons, as we were renovating our yard and we wanted some information on how to protect them. The people were so friendly and helpful in sharing information. And when I was told that if I become a member, I could attend a Christmas party and summer barbecue. I joined on the spot. Well, fast forward 12 years, and yes, I had served on the board in various capacities and volunteered to host, tour, and feed members from other chapters. So, why am I telling you this? Well, I hadn't read the Daily Word for Tuesday, May the 9th, the day of the AGM. And when I looked at it, I smiled. It says, being of service draws me closer to God. Oh, I was going to read it. Where is it? Sorry, I didn't have all my ducks in a row here. Serving others is a powerful spiritual practice. When I serve, I share the love and care of God, and my experience of the oneness of the human family grows. Even the smallest acts of service cast a pebble of love into the pool of our shared life, and the ripples spread to shores unseen by me. Perhaps a helping hand extended towards someone harried by daily events kindle their kind, will kindle their kind acts towards others. Perhaps lending my talents to a cause I care about will fill my heart and give me a sense of purpose while bettering the world for everyone. Holding others in my prayerful thoughts sends positive energy flowing their way. No matter how I serve, God is in the love, care, and compassion I offer today. So we take care of our rhododendron gardens in Courtney, and it really is a beautiful spot, and it does help better the world for everyone. I enjoy Facebook for different quotes and websites, and I thought this one apropos to the talk. When a flashlight grows dim or stops working, do you throw it away? Of course not. You change the batteries. When a person messes up and finds themselves in a deep place, do you cast them aside? Of course not. You help them change their batteries. Some need AA, attention and affection. Some need AAA, AAA, attention, affection, and acceptance. Some need C, compassion. Some need D, direction. And if they still don't seem to shine, simply sit with them quietly and share your light. Okay. I guess that's the end. I usually have a statement here, but I'm going to close with a meditation. I invite you to take these next few minutes and give them as a gift to yourself. Let your shoulders drop as we prepare to enter a time of meditation. Take a deep breath in, knowing you are nourishing your soul. Breathe out and gently release any to-do lists, any thoughts, words, or actions that have not served you well. If you are comfortable, close your eyes. Quietly center yourself as we go into the silence, listening to that still small voice that connects us with our oneness. I am one with the divine. I trust my inner wisdom, and I have the power to guide my words, thoughts, and actions for my highest good. I am whole. I am a living expression of peace. I affirm my unity with all people and know that peace begins with me. Fortified by this time of prayer and meditation, we renew our spiritual sense of purpose, which is to be the light of the world. We agree to shine the light of love wisdom, and peace into the coming days. As we come back to this time and place, we take a deep breath in and are grateful for our ability to breathe. We open our eyes and are grateful for all of the beauty that we see. We smile at the people who are coming to us from all parts of the world, and we are grateful for their fellowship. We say thank you and amen.
You, Judi. That is Judi's picture of her receiving her award. That's excellent. And you look like you look so full of energy and happy to receive that. So we are delighted to have that picture of you showing on our screen. That's just so lovely. Thank you for that beautiful meditation. Judi, thank you for being here. We so enjoyed your talk. I'm sure there's going to be lots of chatter, and we're going to end a little bit early, so I get to have you here for 5 minutes or so. If that works, that would be great. It was inspiring to know that you've been through changes, and you speak your words because it's from your heart and your experience. So we're so grateful to you, and we hope you come back again very, very soon. Much appreciated.